Okay, so it's been an interesting week for Payday 3. We saw the release of the long-awaited and highly anticipated Skills 2.0 update right at the start of the week, which we spoke about at length in my video all about Update 17. But to quickly recap, the game's skill system has been completely overhauled, and while I don't think it's perfect, I do think it's a significant improvement on what we had before. As well as Skills 2.0, this week also marked the beginning of the Payday 3 Advent Calendar event, and saying that this started without a bang is an incredible understatement. What was included in today's vault though was actually quite a bit more interesting, as it gives us our first look at what I assume to be the game's next heist releasing in January. But first, on day 1, we quite literally only received a 10% merch discount for the official Starbreeze store. Yeah, as I said, not the best way to start. Day 2 gave us a short video of a dancing Teddy Moo, of all things. It's actually the same video that Chains can be seen watching during the little Halloween video they put out. They did this to advertise that you can now pre-purchase a physical Teddy Moo plush. It's a little pricey, but to help with that, I've actually got a discount code you can use. Code Safi will get you 10% off, and in the essence of transparency, using that code will give me a 5% kickback, and I'll be donating everything I make rounded up to the next £100, all to charity. Of course, do with that information what you will. I'm not saying you need to go and buy a Teddy Moo plush, but if you do, it wouldn't hurt to use my code. Day 3 of the Advent Calendar once again advertises the Teddy Moo plush with a really weird little animation. Day 4 gave us some Fear and Greed concept art, and Day 5 gave us some concept art for Dallas and Wolf with some different mask variations. This is absolutely not the case, but the little speculation goblin inside of me wants to say that this is a Rust teaser. It's not. It's certainly not, but I wanted to say it anyway. I honestly think that the first 5 days of this 25-day event provided little value at all, and I wouldn't be surprised if people gave up on coming back to check out what was next at any point over the first few days, which would be a little disappointing, as it means they would have missed out on day 6, which includes the very first teaser for the upcoming heist. These 3 cards remind me of the pre-planning screen that we had in Payday 2, which I don't think is even remotely an indicator that that kind of pre-planning system is coming back, but I still wanted to point out. I know there's been some speculation that the next heist would be No Mercy, but I guess that's finally been put to bed with this teaser. We can see some cameras dotted around the environment, as well as some boxes with some party powder packaged inside. Speaking of party powder, in the middle image, I think what we're looking at here is another giant stack of the titular substance, just like we saw on that heist. Straight off the bat, I'm excited to be getting a new heist that isn't set in a warehouse, as disregarding the smash and grab heists, it would have been over a year since we got a heist that wasn't set in a warehouse by the time this heist releases. Yes, in 3 days, it's been a year since First World Bank came out. I want to take this opportunity to give the team behind this little Advent Calendar event some constructive criticism that I really hope can be taken on board and implemented before the end of this event. Looking at days 4 and 5 from this event so far, while it's cool to get some concept art, I don't think it's the kind of thing the community is going to find all that interesting as part of this Advent Calendar. And while I'm sure the rest of this calendar is already locked in and what's being given out on each day is already decided, I really would suggest pivoting slightly if there are any more days like today where we got these 3 cards teasing the upcoming heist, and I'd say split them amongst multiple days. I don't know if there are going to be any more days like this in the calendar, but I think it would have been a lot more interesting if day 4, 5, and 6 gave us a little peek into the heist. I say that not just because I think days 4 and 5 weren't as interesting as they could have been, but actually because splitting up these 3 cards could have ignited some community speculation in a way that giving all 3 of them to us at the same time just couldn't. I think they could have gone about this in 2 ways. First of all, they could have given us the middle image on day 1, where we can quite clearly see that there are stacks upon stacks of cocaine in what appears to be some sort of warehouse, which probably would have set off the community speculation quite nicely, even if that speculation erred on the side of frustration at the idea that we might have been getting yet another warehouse. then the next day, we might have gotten this third image here, where we can see that there are some cameras in the background, but more importantly, that the cocaine we saw the day before is being packaged into wheat boxes, letting us speculate as to the nature of the operation we're seeing at play here. Is this some sort of drug smuggling operation? And again, if we only had these two images at this point, we probably still would have assumed that this was taking place in a warehouse, before the next day, where that community fear is almost put to bed as we can see that we're in some sort of shopping center. I think that could have built up a really cool opportunity for the community to get involved in a bit of speculation and theory crafting about what was coming next. But by handling it in this way and giving us all three images on the same day, we kind of don't need to bother asking any of the questions, as we've got a fair few of the answers right in front of us already. Now, I said that there were two ways this could have worked, and the other could have been if we received these images day by day in the order that they're displayed on screen. One day we got the first image from the insider, the next day we got the second one, and the day after that we got the third, almost insinuating that this was all taking place in real time, so the Payday gang, and by extension the community, were being sent these pictures by the insider each day. I know that just sounds like a giant nitpick, and if you really boil it down, it is, but I think this was actually a bit of a missed opportunity by the team to do something more interesting with this advent calendar event. And I've got to ask, in service of what? Giving us two pieces of concept art that I highly doubt more than a handful of people have actually found interesting? I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm happy for the thumbnail assets, but come on. Anyway, the reason I wanted to jump straight on this today and have actually pivoted away from what my initial video plan was for this weekend is because I wanted to get this out there before this happens again and say, if there is another day where we're going to be given a couple of images like we were today, it's really worth considering sacrificing some of the potential concept art that might be planned for some other days and spread out some more interesting and exciting assets in a way that makes the event more engaging. Let me be clear, it's not my place nor anybody else's place in the community to tell the team how to do their jobs or handle an event and expect them to listen, but we are all welcome to share our thoughts, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. I'm not saying Starbreeze have to listen to me, but I would argue they'd be doing themselves a favour if they did here. All in all, I think this advent calendar event has the potential to be quite interesting, but hasn't really capitalised on that just yet. Of course, with less than a week in, and I anticipate we'll get some more interesting things as we go, and possibly on the 25th, it would be cool to get something in-game, whether that's as simple as a seasonal mask, or perhaps maybe even a weapon. I think that's very unlikely, and to be clear, I have no idea what's planned for the rest of this event, but I imagine something like that would go quite a long way. Either way though, there's not actually too much else to say about the advent calendar event. If we do get anything more exciting over the next few weeks, I'll make sure to cover it as soon as possible, so if that sounds of interest to you, or you've enjoyed this video so far, all I ask is that you consider subscribing. Let me know what you think about this advent calendar event, and answer honestly, was this something you knew was taking place before you heard about it in this video? With Skills 2.0 now having been out for a little under a week, if you're interested in my thoughts on the new update, you can click the video on screen now for my full Update 17 breakdown. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.